Hello, welcome to Levant TV Headlines. Russia and Iran have announced a new coalition to defend Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and defeat the Islamic State, handing him a dramatic victory ahead of the UN General Assembly. Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Bogdanov says Russia and the United States will take part in Syria peace talks in October, along with Iran, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Egypt. New clashes have broken out between Israeli police and Palestinians at Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, with further trouble feared in the week ahead. The US Navy says a sailor assigned to an anti-mine ship operating in the Persian Gulf has died after a shooting in Bahrain. And Iranian President Hassan Rouhani is to fly home early from New York to attend a repatriation ceremony in Tehran on Tuesday for Iranian pilgrims killed in the stampede at the Hajj. And now let's have a look at the top headlines in today's newspapers in the Middle East. Starting from Cairo, the Egypt Independent leads reporting that 55 Egyptian citizens are amongst the more than 700 people who died in a crash of Muslim pilgrims during this year's Hajj in Saudi Arabia. The paper also reports that Egypt might lease recently purchased French assault ships to China, Taiwan-based news website One China Times reported, quoting the Moscow-based Russian Agency of International Information. From Beirut, the Daily Star reports that a group of civil society campaigners have called for a trash plan that employs fermentation and urged against the use of compactors in order to recover recyclables. The paper also reports that French President François Hollande has announced that he will head to Lebanon in October to tackle the challenges that are confronting the country, particularly the 1.5-year-long presidential deadlock. From the United Arab Emirates, the Khaleej Times reads reporting that Russian President Vladimir Putin has branded US support for rebel forces in Syria as illegal and ineffective, saying US-trained rebels were leaving to join Daesh with weapons supplied by Washington. The paper also reports that the shortage of affordable homes in Dubai and the reduction in overseas allowances since the global financial crisis are pushing foreign staff on middle incomes out to less glamorous areas of the city, far from their offices, or to neighbouring Sharjah. Now let's have a look at the top Middle East headlines from papers here in London. The Telegraph leads reporting that Iran's President Hassan Rouhani has warned that the Syrian government must be allowed to remain in power to prevent Islamic State from taking over the country. President Rouhani, in New York to attend the United Nations General Assembly meeting, argued that the priority must be combating ISIS extremists in Syria and that political reform could follow. And The Guardian leads reporting that efforts to resolve the crisis in Syria may be taken up by an international contact group including Russia, Iran, the US, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Egypt. It emerged on Monday, hours before a high-stakes meeting between Barack Obama and Vladimir Putin at the United Nations in New York. The group conspicuously excludes Britain and France, both permanent veto-wielding members of the UN Security Council. And The Independent reports that 17 migrants drowned when their boat sank on Sunday off the Turkish coast while headed for the Greek island of Kos. The boat was carrying 37 people, 20 of whom were rescued when it sank in the Aegean Sea. And now let's have a look at the top Middle East headlines in international papers. From Beijing, the Global Times reports that the Palestinian presidency has denied reports that US Secretary of State John Kerry opposed a meeting between the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after the Israeli newspaper of Haaretz quoted identical Palestinian and Israeli sources as saying that Kerry has recently blocked the Abbas-Netanyahu meeting. And finally, from Berlin, the Deutsche Welle reports that French President François Hollande has said more French airstrikes against the Islamic State targets could take place in the coming weeks. The announcement comes amid increased efforts to confront the militant group. That's it for today's brief headlines. For more updates, please visit our website on levant.tv. Thanks for watching and bye for now.